Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, and if you're new here, it is so great to have you. I'm Antoinette, a New Zealander living in Germany, and recently I have been making quite a few vlogs. I've got my kids home with me 24/7 right now due to the current situation. I've been getting so many comments from you guys about how my two children are able to switch so quickly and effortlessly between speaking German and English. They speak English with me and German with each other. And so I thought it is about time I made another Raising Bilingual Kids related video. And so I thought I would talk about some of the biggest mistakes, the most common mistakes that parents make when they are raising bilingual kids. So before I get into it, I would like to thank Vankyo for kindly partnering with me in this video. They have brought out a very affordable Android-powered tablet, especially for kids. It is called the Matrix Pad Z1 Kids Edition, and my kids have one each. They absolutely love them. I would only recommend screen time for kids if it is monitored and in moderation, which is why this tablet is absolutely perfect. It lets you control how much screen time your child is allowed. It also has very strong child security. Matrix Pad also comes with a pre-installed copper certified kids app called Kids Oz, which has lots of really great educational content. So they come in two really fun colours. We have the blue and the green for my little boy Matteo, and the pink and the blue for my little girl Emilia. And they have this really cool 360-degree reversible stand, so the kids are able to use the tablet hands-free. You can put it like this or like this. They have these really great cases made out of rubber, so if the kids accidentally drop the tablet, it's not going to smash. They're also absolutely perfect for long car rides or long haul flights. I'm so pleased we have them. So if you're interested in checking out the Matrix Pad Z1, I will leave the Amazon link for where you can purchase them in my description below. Okay guys, so moving on to some of the common mistakes that parents make when they are raising bilingual children. So one of the mistakes is listening to negative comments and advice on raising bilingual kids. The moment you announce that you are going to be raising your child bilingually, you are going to be getting all sorts of advice coming from all different directions. Some of the advice may be quite helpful, most of it is not helpful at all. The only people you should really be taking advice from in regards to this topic are parents who have successfully raised bilingual children, people who have grown up in a bilingual or multilingual environment, or professionals who are specialized in multilingual speech development. And even then, every child develops differently. Every family dynamic is different. So it's not just a one-size-fits-all situation when it comes to raising bilingual kids. When I was pregnant with my first child, right up until now, I have people throwing all sorts of advice at me, especially the fact that I'm online and putting myself out there online. I've had people say things to me like, Antoinette, you should just stick to one language, you're just going to confuse the kids and they're going to learn English anyway at school, so it doesn't really matter. I'm so pleased I didn't listen to that advice. I've also received comments like, you just wait, when Emilia starts school she won't want to speak English with you anymore, she'll just want to speak German. She may understand what you're saying and she'll reply to you in German. Just wait and see. And that didn't happen. Oh, and this is my favourite one. Antoinette, you should consider speaking to your children in a more neutral accent because you're teaching them bad habits by speaking to them in Kiwi English. So I should probably just switch over straight away to this perfect fake British accent and speak to my children all the time like this. It would be so beneficial to their bilingual speech development. So you're going to be receiving so much advice from people who don't really know what they're talking about, so most of the time you should take it with a grain of salt. Okay guys, so another common mistake that many parents make when they are raising bilingual children is expecting their children to automatically be bilingual. And the truth is, for a child to become bilingual, they need a huge amount of exposure to both languages. The only reason why my children are bilingual is because from day one, my husband and I made a conscious effort to expose our children to as much English and as much German as possible. And this is not easy. Honestly, we live in Germany. We are surrounded by the German language. I don't just speak English with my kids because it's the easy way out. I also speak German. It would actually be easier in a lot of ways for me to switch to speaking German with them in certain situations, but I don't. I stick to English with them because I want them to have as much English exposure as possible, and it can be difficult when you are in a German environment. And so I all the time will speak English with my children. No matter what situation we're in, we will stick to speaking English, and they always reply to me in English. Sometimes they will throw in the odd little German word, but for the most part they speak to me in English. There are so many wonderful ways of successfully raising bilingual children. Our way is just one of many. We use the one parent, one language method. So my husband only speaks German with my children and I only speak English. It has worked for us. Some people only speak one language in the home and they speak another language outside of the home. That is also a great method. But the most important thing when raising bilingual children is to be very, very consistent. You have to expose that child to, as close as you can, to an equal amount of each language on a daily basis, because when it comes to languages, if you don't use it, you lose it. It is so, so true. So one language will become a lot stronger if they use that language more. And so it's a constant battle for me trying to make sure my children have enough English exposure. And I do it because it's something really important to me. I want my children to be able to communicate with my family back in New Zealand. It's important for me to be able to communicate with my children in my mother tongue. Not long after I moved to Germany, I was actually working as a nanny for a German family, and one of the reasons why they hired me was because they wanted me to teach their children English. And I tried my best to teach the children English, but it didn't really work so well because they weren't getting the amount of exposure they needed to the English language. It was just a little bit of English here and there. And I think the parents kind of wondered why their kids weren't picking up English. And the truth is they just weren't getting enough English exposure. It's as simple as that. So what I'm trying to say is that children can't just become bilingual with just a little bit of exposure here and there to one foreign language. They need a substantial amount of exposure to both languages on a daily basis to become bilingual. Okay, so another mistake that many parents make is correcting their child too much. So when you jump in there and correct your child for a mistake they make, like maybe a grammatical mistake or maybe a pronunciation mistake, you are interrupting that language flow, and it takes so much brain power for a child to switch between two languages. So just by jumping in and saying, no, that's wrong, the child is like losing their concentration, they lose their confidence, and they may not want to speak. It's very normal for a bilingual child to make little mistakes here and there. They may throw in a word from the other language and muddle things up a little bit, and that is totally fine. And the main thing you should focus on is that your child is able to understand both languages, they're able to communicate in both languages. It's okay to correct your child in a nice, encouraging way, but when you are constantly just jumping in there and cutting in and saying that's wrong, it's going to be pretty off-putting for that child. So instead of them wanting to speak with you and communicate with you, if they constantly cut off and criticize, then it's going to have the opposite effect. They are going to sort of hold back and not want to express themselves. And language development is all about speaking. Like, you make so many mistakes when you're learning a new language, and the same with bilingual children. They still make mistakes, they're not perfect. So instead of constantly correcting and criticizing the way your child speaks, you should be encouraging them and saying, you're doing such a great job, that is awesome, it doesn't matter if you make a few mistakes, it's absolutely fine, you're doing a great job, and it's so great that you are bilingual. So another mistake that many parents make while raising bilingual children is not making the minority language fun. So in our case, the minority language is English because we live in Germany. So the minute that my children walk out the door, they are in a German environment. There are a lot more people that they can speak German with than they can speak English with. So for me, it's always been my motivation to make English a really fun, appealing language for them to speak, they have to have motivation to speak that language. It has to be something that they enjoy. I've always given my children so much exposure to English songs and poems and kids films and just lots of fun things like that. And I've always made a conscious effort to connect with other English speakers. I've got an English speaking group here in Germany with parents also raising their children with 2 languages, with German and English. And my kids have grown up with these children and they say that it's something normal for children to be bilingual, and they really enjoy speaking English with each other. We also do a lot of video calls with my family and friends in New Zealand, and my children love to do this, and that is their motivation for speaking English. They want to be able to communicate with their family in New Zealand. I always talk to my children about how important the English language is and how it's like the international language. If they can speak English, they can communicate with so many people from all around the world, and I think that really gives them, or especially Emilia, my 7-year-old, it gives her so much motivation to want to speak English. You need to make the language fun, you need to make it appealing for that child so they have motivation to want to speak it. Okay guys, so last but not least, another mistake that many parents make is giving up too quickly. Please do not do this. Every child is unique. Every child develops at their own pace, in their own time, in their own way. For example, our little boy Matteo, he was a very early speaker, and Emilia, our daughter, on the other hand, was a late speaker. She was barely saying a single word before the age of 2, and we were a little bit worried about that. We were getting so much advice from people telling us, oh, she's confused, you should maybe just stick to one language, it's too much for her learning 2 languages, all of this kind of stuff. I'm so pleased we didn't listen to them. We continued speaking German and English with Emilia, and at the age of 2 she had a language explosion and she started speaking in full sentences in English and in German. So she just needed that little bit of extra time, and if we had given up and just reverted to speaking only German with her, then that would have been a huge mistake. So what I'm trying to say is that, you know, every child is different, so please don't give up too early. Just because a child may be a late speaker, it doesn't mean that they're not picking up both languages. All of that information will be in there. They will be processing all of it. So don't give up. Keep going and you will see the results. So anyway guys, that's all I've got for this video. I really hope you enjoyed it. I am not an expert on bilingual speech development by any means. I am just a mother raising my children bilingually, so you can take whatever advice you like from me, you can leave whatever you like. I am just speaking from my own personal experience. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, then don't forget to give it a big thumbs up. I would love you to consider subscribing to my channel. Feel free to connect with me on Instagram, and I will see you again really soon. Bye!